This one.
Thank you. Frame 9, Judd trump to break.
And it's Trump to get us back underway. Of course, Trump has already played a match in this tournament, beating Mark Allen. He was 4-0 down. And completely out of sorts initially, but he turned it around pretty impressively in the final session. Scored heavily. They both did, actually. Allen had a couple of centuries. Trump coming through 10-8. But, of course, Murphy got a bye into the quarters, courtesy of being one of the top 4 on the one-year list. Neil Foles alongside me for this. And on the balance of play, Neil, you'd probably say Murphy's been the stronger and perhaps will feel some regret that he's not maybe a couple of frames clear tonight.
Yes, good evening, Philip. It's one of those, isn't it, where you often get one of the two players, if the scores are level, more content with that scoreline than the other one. And yeah, it would be Murphy who maybe could have been 5-3 up, or, you know, conceivably even better. But, you know, you can only, if you like, play the hand you dealt, and now it's a question of going again. And these two players have got all the experience for that, as the cue ball goes straight into the pocket.
Trump 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of snooker to be played tonight. It's effectively a best of 11 now from here. So we go again, and one thing Murphy can say is that he looks to be in good form. Don't think anyone could argue that point. And, you know, he'll probably feel better now he's got a few frames under his belt, but like you rightly said, you know, it's unusual that the world-ranked #1 player would have played a match prior to it, but in this event, he's not in the top 4 seeds. He's on the one-year list, so, you know, he's got the benefit of the match under his belt from day one.
Well, that initial shot from Trump will please him because, as you saw from that graphic on the screen, his long game was not really there this afternoon. That was one of the reasons that he wasn't playing as well as he would have liked, even though he got out of the session unscathed. But that was a very sweetly struck long red right in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, he played on the plant, but the cue ball needs to be further across. He still might be able to cut it thin onto the planting angle on the second red, but even then, from where the cue ball is, it's not a very good shot to have to play. If the cue ball was much further down, it would be a very different shot. This is a missable one now. But he's got it all the same.
5.
There might be one red, bottom right-hand red, that goes to the left corner. He's looking at where the cue ball would have to finish, but he's got to land it absolutely to the millimetre, I think, but to the point where that is possible. And from where he is, that would be not so easy to do.
He's playing with a new cue in this tournament, Trump. He's already had a couple of different ones this season. The first he didn't get along with, having switched to a titanium ferrule. And during that period, his long game was well below his normal standards. Then he got it back again. As mentioned earlier today, it wasn't great, but he's knocked in a long one already tonight.
Yeah, he did well there because, like I say, he had a very small area to land in, and from the yellow he may have gone just a fraction further than he wanted to, but in the end it's turned out okay. Chance to get the reds open here if he wanted to, but he decided to play on the loose reds. There's 3 of them.
Winner of this to play the winner of the match between Neil Robertson and Barry Hawkins. As mentioned, Robertson emerging with a 5-3 first session lead. They come back tomorrow lunchtime, 1 o'clock UK time, to finish.
16.
Semi-finals given over to 1 day each, Friday and Saturday. All of the matches played over the best of 19. So it replicates the setup for the World Championship, which is just around the corner, of course. All of the qualifying rounds are over the best of 19 frames,
21.
as of course is the first round at the Crucible. So it's the perfect preparation, really, for the big one in Sheffield. It's a tournament that Trump has not had much success in. A couple of semi-finals. But that victory over Mark Allen is first since 2020
22.
in this event, which is a surprise.
He could have done with the cue ball going a little further once again, so that he was just high on the blues to make it simple. The trouble is, if he pots the pink, which is the obvious shot, the pink kind of could get in the way of the red he wants to play next. So he has to play it like that. If he played it any further through, the pink, I think, would have blocked off the red. So one
28.
problem led to another there.
$29.
Now he's played that shot right-handed, but it's handy that he is actually a left-hander for the next shot. So it's a typical Trump contribution so far. He's dipped in and out of position a few times already. But where does the next shot come from now? Don't know if anything goes.
36.
See that red in the middle of the table, it might cut in. It's mightily thin if he does play it. But I think he's going to have to play safe. The shot on the black was neither one thing nor the other. He never really went into them.
Judd
And he never really
36.
played on the red either.
It's been a very positive season for Murphy, winning that British Open title. He played superbly throughout the week and looked favourite to win in Xi'an as well. Didn't quite produce the level he had in the build-up to the final, and Mark Williams also played exceptionally well to beat him. Of course, he had that superb performance against Kyron Wilson when Kyron didn't pot a single ball. But he's been very consistent. That's why he's one of the top 4 seeds for this event.
It's another good long red into that same pocket as the one earlier. But as usual, when you get one part of the shot, you get the second part, and it was with a view to leaving the ball safe. If you can drop in behind the green, if he could cover the right red, I think the blue would cover the red on the left side. So a little gentle drop in behind the green, I think. Yeah, it's nicely played. It's not an easy shot always on fast tables to land up to a ball. Just got a glimpse over at the other table. Xiao Xintong is off to a flying start. He's already scored too many points in the first frame. It's a question of how many he makes, but he's clearly won that opener against Wakelin, who won 8 in a row last night.
Xiao, the only player, of course, this season to have won 2 ranking titles. This is the 17th ranking event of the campaign. We've had 15 different winners.
One. 7.
Yes, Zhao Tong started with a break of 103 next door, so in his bid to win all of the 3 Players Series events, having one in Hong Kong for the World Grand Prix and the in Telford for the Players Championship, he's made a good start to the tour against Wakelin.
12. Thirteen.
Well, he's going to need a further red after this pink, and maybe something to follow it, but mathematically frame ball will be the next red. And Murphy, without really having had a look in this opening frame of the evening.
Trump made 3 centuries against Mark Allen. The standard in the second half of the match was extremely high. He declared himself very happy with the state of his game afterwards. So he's a red away from clinching this frame
19.
to move back in front. It's a thinnish cut.
Yes, and these are the kind of frames, if you leave this red over the pocket at this level, this Tour Championship is the banging form champions for all the season. So if you miss this red, the clearance would be on. Judd will be aware of that. But he hasn't missed it, crucially.
20.
It's been a very strong start to the evening. Trump stroked in that lovely long red right in the middle of the hole. Lost position, 136, but has finished the job now.
24. 25. 32. 33.
He made the highest break of the tournament so far earlier, 140. Just one other half century. Should really have been 3-0 down. Murphy missing. Very straightforward red to this left corner
40.
when he was in charge.
$41.
He tried a big shot there to arc the cue all round and move the other red. Yeah, that high break prize is £10,000, of which, I wouldn't say 140 would usually win, but I think the pockets are fairly standard. They're not tight, but they're
45.
not as big as some we've seen. So it's got some sort of a chance. Anyway, he's won the frame.
Judd from 45 and the frame.
Breaks to 36 and 45 from the world number 1, who edges back in front of Shaun Murphy at the start of this concluding session. In the quarterfinals of the Tour Championship, it's Trump who leads by 5 frames to 4. He's halfway to the semis. So Trump off to a fine start this evening. As Neil has mentioned, Zhao Tong likewise chasing that new record of becoming the first player ever to win all 3 of these Players Series events for the top 32, top 16, and for this one, the top 12. Standing in his way, Chris Wakelin. Zhao with the century in the first. But it was an extraordinary turnaround, really, from Wakelin last night, from 6-2 behind against Wu Yize to win all 8 frames. That will have given him a huge injection of confidence, but I don't think that's in short supply these days for Wakelin. He's got a lot of self-belief. Of course, he's elevated his career by winning the Scottish Open this season, beating Chang Bing-Yu pretty handsomely in Edinburgh to go with that shootout title, which really transformed his career. But he's up against the man who's looking to break that crucible curse in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I mean, these two have played quite a lot in the last year, haven't they? Because if you think a year ago, Jin Tong hadn't even started his campaign in the World Championships from the qualifiers. But they've played 4 times, including in the quarterfinals. So on one occasion, Wakelin got the job done in Saudi Arabia. But otherwise, Jin Tong has kind of had his measure, you feel, but for that one match.
Wakelin making his Tour Championship debut this year. Chow played in it in 2022, lost it decided to John Higgins in the last 8. But of course he beat Higgins quite brilliantly this season in the title match. The finish that he produced in that match against Higgins from 7-6 down was quite remarkable. He was applauded by the great man as he clinched victory to win the Players' Championship.
Thank you. Frame 10, Shaun Murphy to break.
Xiao Xintong then with a century in the first frame, early stages of the second on table 2. Shaun Murphy breaking off in frame 10 on table 1. 5-4 down now to Judd Trump. He won the first of the evening with a couple of scoring visits. That is not a good break-off, though, from Murphy, hitting the blue.
No, but he's been trying that break all day, hasn't he, where he's been hitting the 3rd red, which is... well, I don't know anyone else in the game that does that, quite honestly. But you know what Shaun is like. He's got these theories, isn't he, of things that he does. You know, when he turned up with those 3 Qs, thought that was a good idea. He's a little bit cranky on that score, which kind of like that about him, but if players knock in that long red and clear up against him, that break will be put on the back burner, I feel. And I could understand him breaking off attackingly, you know, if he's playing a lesser player, but he's playing someone who pots great balls at long range, has made over 1,000 centuries. So I don't know what he's trying to prove by playing it like that. And one of the frames, that break-off led to a very big break from Judd. The 140 came from the break-off, so, but he's still doing it. It's a little unlucky to finish there.
Black ball. Shaun Murphy 1.
Aside from that victory for Trump in the final of this season's German Masters 10-4, of course they also met in the second round at the Crucible last season. Another win for Trump. Murphy threatened one of his great comebacks. Was 12-6 down at one stage, got it back to 12-10 before losing 13-10. But he has beaten Trump at the Crucible on a couple of occasions. His most recent meeting came on his way to that British Open title, 4-3.
That was a very good shot. I mean, it didn't look much perhaps, but from under the cushion into not a very big pocket opening from there. It was very well played.
Seven. Eight.
Yes, I mean, he's going to the trouble of getting the long stuff out to play the blue, because as much as anything else, he just gets the blue back onto its own spot. Means that the green goes into that top right pocket. It just tidies up the table a bit, I feel. It's a half decent chance. Yes, the black is awkward, but you know, the other colours all on their spot, so you know, you could easily do a lot of damage at this scoring visit. And because he's never really had a significant lead, he led 3-2. Murphy, of course, at one point had won the
14.
first 2 frames. So if you could go a couple of frames up early in the evening, then that would set him in good stead, I think.
Yes, it was early in the match, and obviously there's plenty of time for things to
80.
fluctuate this evening, but it was a big moment when Murphy missed what was, for him, the simplest of reds, because
90.
at that stage he was completely on top. He'd made a couple of decent breaks in the first 2. He was in again. He had a 30-odd lead, and the red he missed was just so out of the blue into the left corner, and that certainly changed the balance of the session. Trump punished him. 3-0 behind, and then the pressure's on the world number 1. But just as he did against Mark Allen,
24.
having trailed 4-0 at one stage, he's looking sharp in the evening session at the moment. And as I say that, he's missed a red, surprisingly.
Judd Trump, 24.
That rather came out of the blue, just as Murphy's did earlier. It wasn't as simple as Murphy's miss, but certainly one you'd have expected Trump to get. He's overcut it by quite a way.
1.
Well, that just made the
6.
black even more difficult to access. It was on the cushion, but now it's blocked off anyway. These are important frames, you know, you don't always see century breaks in frames. We saw one
7.
in the shape of that 140. One from Shaun Murphy as well, but you know, sometimes these frames where there's not a lot in it in the way of scoring opportunities, you've just got to try and get them won. They all count. And that was a surprising miss from Trump, wasn't it, on the red?
12. Thirteen.
It's not a very good shot. He's not got too bad a kiss, but looks a bit surprised by the way that cue ball reacted there, that he went into the blue, because no way in the world would he have wanted that.
18. 19.
That'll do very nicely. That's opened up the table. He looks pleased with it. He sort of bounced around the table for this. And again, you look at the 3 safe reds and you realise that there's a lot of work to be done to get
25.
this frame won. I can't think it's going to be easy to win it at this scoring visit, but he can put himself
26.
in a strong position at the point that this break ends. If you took the 4 reds and left the one close to the black, he'd be too many in front. But you know, that's difficult with those reds on each cushion, each side cushion.
33.
I suppose his ability to use the rest could come into play here on one of those tricky reds.
$39. 40.
Does not want to be straight on this pink. It gives him very few options, and he's got a very slight angle. He might be able to run it through around 2 cushions for the left-hand red, but he's looking at the blue instead. And he's trying to come off the cushion out of vault in behind the red with a view to pushing it into play. He's checked the cue ball slightly, and the break will end.
45.
That's a disappointing
Shaun,
end
45.
to that break of 45. He's left this red for Trump. Murphy, still plenty of life left in this frame. The other 2 reds clearly awkward at the moment. Murphy's safety success not the best in this match so far. Oh, Trump's overcut the red. Goodness. The second one he's missed to that left corner in this frame.
Yes, and that's made a difference, because I don't know if he's quite got the angle. If he could pop this red and send the cue ball across towards the other red and move it, then, like I said, you know, he wouldn't necessarily need that red by the black. He did sort of play it, didn't he, into that area. So the lead is growing with 29 points. So a red and a pink would be too many. Playing the cannon. It's so easy to do that, isn't it? Just push it beyond the line of the middle. That's what O'Sullivan
7.
is so incredibly good at. You know, not only playing the cannon, but at the pace to knock it over the middle, not past the middle.
Shaun Murphy, 7.
Well, I mean, there's no argument here that Murphy is favourite to win the frame. It doesn't mean he'll win it, but he is favourite because the red and the black Trump absolutely needs. But Murphy may not. Now, does he move the red away from the black here in safety? It might be his best shot. But in reality, he probably doesn't want to play that red. He wants to play the left-hand one, which he's doing. puts his hand up. He actually just grazed into the black there, which didn't seem on, actually. So a whole kind of trouble he's in now. The miss will be called should he make no contact with the red. That's another problem he's got. Great shot. It's a bit of a saviour, that one, wasn't it? It's kept him in the frame.
Looking to see if he can get through to pot the red. Trump was only 2 from 8 earlier today, I should say, from long range. Oh, and that was a long way off.
Appeared to be kind of up on the shot very quickly. There was nothing smooth about that strike, was there? You see it. Yeah, none of it was how he was meant to do it, technically. Everything went a bit haywire there.
1.
Very likely to cost him the frame. And you know, Trump was in early in this frame. He missed a pretty comfortable red to the left corner, and he's not recovered since. So 36 a difference, so 1 snooker, but the red going in will level up at 5-all.
7. 8.
Yep, it was Murphy's turn to be let off the hook. That surprising error from Trump, who'd started the evening so well. And then he missed again into that left corner from distance, overcutting a red that he'd normally pop. And that
30.
errant attempt from distance just now has sealed the frame for Murphy. He'll be mindful that Trump in recent times has very much held sway in this rivalry. He's won 9 of the last 11 between them.
18.
So Murphy will feel he's due a bit of payback. He's missed the brown, but that's academic.
18 and a frame.
So Shaun Murphy wins the second of the evening to tie this up again. There's never been more than a frame between them since the second, when Murphy led 2-0. Could stay that way all evening. We'll see. It's 5 each. So dead level on table 1. Table 2, it's been a very good start from Zhao Xintong. A century in the first frame. He's won the second as well. Just Wakelin knocking that red in, but he's not going to be in A1 position to continue the break.
Yeah, it's been pretty one-sided the first couple of frames. Been peeking across from our table to have a look over there, and it's been all one-way traffic. But it is a long match at least, and Wakelin we know was They're down heavily in this previous round, and they had a brilliant night last night, so it's too early to make too strong a judgment how that will go. That's a good shot.
Nice. Points.
Thank you. Frame 11, Judd Trump to break.
So 1 frame apiece this evening, 5 all in total here on table 1. Judd Trump breaking off in the 11th, won the 10th. Murphy won the 10th, I should say, after Trump won the first of the evening. And here's Chris Wakelin looking to make some inroads against the reigning world champion Xiao Xintong, who comfortably won the first 2 frames, including a century. Wakelin fresh from that remarkable comeback last night against Wu Yize, winning 8 in a row.
Well, the red's to the right corner, he's knocking in fluently, but 1 or 2 to the left side he hasn't done.
Judd Trump 1.
Good escape, very good. Players invariably get that shot very often now, make the contact that they desire, but it still was impressive pace-wise as well. It's got that feel about it, hasn't it, now, this match? It's going to be hard for one player to pull away from the other one, and that's very nicely played. It's pretty much what he meant, although, of course, he did go for the red as well. Now, that could still be the target ball, those two reds, the right-hand red of the two, down the table on the black cushion. But, you know, to get to them from where he is, there's a lot of reds in the way. It's quite a difficult snooker to not so much hit, but make contact with and leave the ball safe.
Hit and hope from Trump, and it could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't really know what to do there. To play it into the jaws like that, though, I mean, he absolutely had no idea where they were going to finish. That was a complete guess. Sometimes when you see it played at pace into the bunch, it's there's some guesswork involved, but it was total guesswork there. He hasn't left it safe, though, because Murphy, as he often does, cues those sort of shots exquisitely. Lovely ball striking. So he didn't really get away with it in the end, although it did appear that he had.
Murphy won this title in 2023, coming from 4-0 down in the final against Kyron Wilson to win 10-7. And we've seen that sort of form from him again this season. Of course, he won the Masters in dazzling fashion last season, but he's undercut that red. What is it about that left corner? He missed
Shaun
a very straightforward one earlier this afternoon when he was on top. And that was never going to go in.
One.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't detect a kick, but Murphy's reaction is that it wasn't his fault there, you know, and maybe the balls just stuck together a little bit. The contact wasn't ideal, which is not something we see as often as we used to, put it that way. I don't know why he missed that shot, but that could be a reason.
8. 9. $14. $15.
Well, he's got a bit of an angle here, and
20.
he's going to play the bottom red, so it's a slip round the back of the black ball, which goes to the same pocket, but he's played up the table.
21.
So it seems to be sort of going from queuing nicely and looking good to the complete opposite in the space of a few shots sometimes. Sort of running in snatches a little bit.
$26. $27.
Applause for the world champion, because Shaun Tong has just extended his lead. 3-0 now over Chris Wakelin on table 2. The winner of that to
34.
play the winner of our match tomorrow. Both sessions being played on Thursday. Mark Selby and John Higgins. That could be quite a battle.
35.
Yeah, I mean, the cannon looked to me like it was going to just slide off the reds a little bit, and that's what happened.
41.
So does anything go? I mean, does that red go to middle? It's very close, actually. I think he can get to enough of the potting angle, but can he pass the pink? I think sometimes you have to look behind the pocket, but Judd doesn't do that. Look at it from the pocket back to the ball, I find. It looks like it goes on that, doesn't it? Let's be honest, but there's not a load of room. Well, we never really know. I mean, he hit the pink, doesn't mean it never went. It just means he hit it wrongly.
Judge on 41.
So the frame is absolutely back on. And Judd knows it, because he has left a good chance to bring the scores closer together, but those reds on the cushion are going to be the stumbling block further down the line.
No, I believe he hit the red. I'll double check for you, but I believe it was the red first. Could you show me the replay? Thank you.
Well, I don't know. What is he saying here?
I believe the pink moved off the red, but I'll have a look for you.
It wasn't. Pink was not in play. I don't know why Shaun wants to know about that.
He hit the pink with the red, I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what Shaun is talking about. I think Shaun's lost it there.
Yeah, he did hit the pink with the red. Yeah, yeah. No, he hit the red, but the red wasn't moving. Yeah.
Well, I think Shaun's realised that he's speaking nonsense there.
One. Six. Seven.
You could see the disappointment on Murphy's face when he missed the red, having knocked a brilliant long red in to set up the chance. But at least it didn't cost him the frame, which it might have done.
Now, has he got the shot here to screw into the reds? Because he's going to have to do it. There's always the temptation to leave it as long as possible. I don't know if the angle on the black is the one, but he might try and move the reds here. Good shot, really. I know he's not on a red nicely, but I think sometimes if you're going to clear up, don't leave it till the last minute to do the shifting of balls into play. I don't think I'd want to pop the brown if I was Shaun, because the red will be tied up then. That would be a poor decision moving forward. I think the green is the better ball, because I'm sure the red would then go into the green pocket. The brown is respotted, the red's very hard to get on.
Eighteen. Nineteen. 25. Thank you. 26. 33. 34.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? You see, had he taken the brown earlier, then it would have been very difficult to get on this red, but it does go into that top right pocket now because he took the green. So there was something I believe he considered. And now,
41.
I mean, he's not perfectly behind the red, but if he could just make sure of it and get onto a colour, you know, you'd like to believe that he'll win the frame from here. Good shot as well. That's absolutely perfect from black to yellow.
Most players have missed balls in this match that they would have expected to get, and Murphy did so again early in this frame with the short-range red that stayed up into the left corner, possibly
51.
a heavy contact, but it looks likely to be academic. Trump couldn't make as many as he wanted to. Murphy has taken these well.
54.
So just the brown.
Yeah, he has taken them well, and also I think, you know, when you think about how confused he was about Trump's shot, it's almost like his concentration went, because he was querying the previous shot of Judd's before he hit the pink first. There was not a notion that he hit the pink first. I think he just got himself into a little
63.
bit of a situation where he was not seeing things correctly, but from that he's still cleared up, so he's done well.
69. Shaun
A
Murphy
nice
frame.
69 clearance for the pink from Shaun Murphy. And it's Murphy who now edges back in front in this very tight quarter-final here at the Tour Championship. Murphy now within 4 of making the semi-finals once again. The former champion of this event leading by 6 frames to 5. So things remain very close on table 1. Table 2 less so, with Zhao Xintong having got off to a flyer and a 3-0 lead over Chris Wakelin, but this looks like a decent chance for Wakelin early in the 4th to get himself involved in this session.
Yeah, I mean, he has got in very early in a couple of the other frames. Certainly one where he made a 39 break the previous, but it's been a fairly short-lived effort, and then, of course, Xintong has just polished off what's left. And I have to say the world champion has looked sharp in the early exchanges here. Wakelin could really do with a frame before they break for the mid-session, that's for sure. You don't want to let someone as brilliant as Zhao Xintong march into an early lead. I mean, Wakelin is one of the most improved players on the tour. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
30.
To get where he has and to be in this Tour Championship, if you go back 4 or 5 years, all of this seemed very unlikely. He was a mid-ranked player.
And now the world number 13.
Thank you.
Chris Wakelin
Frame
looking
12.
to get a frame on the
Shaun
board
Murphy's
pre-interval against the world champion Zhao Xintong on table 2 and HBO Max. He's going nicely at the moment in the 4th. Shaun Murphy having made a 69 clearance to the pink to edge in front of Judd Trump at 6 frames to 5. And again, he's gone for that aggressive break, opening the reds. This time avoiding cannoning into the blue, which he did earlier.
Well, it's the complete opposite of the roll-up behind the bunch break, isn't it, that players have adopted. Most notably Mark Williams, but I do remember a little spell where Murphy was so obsessed by leaving one off the break, he was playing the thinnest of contacts. And he actually missed the bunch a couple of times in one of the Home Nations events. Now he's gone the other way completely. a pot. I mean, there's still a lot of snooker to be played in this match, right? But I think the way that the last couple of frames have played out, Judd's got every reason to be very disappointed he's lost them. It's his own doing.
Bramble.
Now, he's missed important balls. Yeah, Murphy has not really gone for him. He's just picked up the pieces a couple of times of an error.
5. Six. Thirteen. Fourteen.
Murphy's win at the Masters was a big deal, I think, because it just restored his belief that he can still contest the very biggest titles in the game, which I think he was beginning to doubt. But the way in which he won it, making that maximum break against Mark Allen, having just missed one against Neil Robertson, and then beating Kyron Wilson for the title, really did put him back on track, and we've seen more of that this season. Very, very consistent campaign for Murphy. And to beat Trump in a tournament of this prestige would be very satisfying, given that by and large he's been on the wrong end of things against Trump in the last couple of years, including this season in Berlin in the final. He's got to negotiate this shot with the spider, which is never fun to use, but we know he's very good with the rest.
Thank you. 22.
And it was another great bit of cueing to get in. He is so easy on the eye, Murphy, when he's cueing well. Hits the ball in such a pure fashion.
Yeah, I think with, clearly the head-to-heads, as you point out, strongly in favour of Trump. Murphy's had his moments. Trump seems to won most of the big matches they've played. But with Shaun Murphy, that means so much. But if he plays at his best, he's capable of almost destroying any player, actually. Well, it depends how he plays. And he looks to be okay. I think he's just getting the inkling that he really can win this now, because Trump has shown a few little signs of weakness tonight.
36.
Yes, the red that Trump missed into the left corner after he won the first frame of the night convincingly has just shifted the momentum Murphy's way, it would seem. Although that could have worked out better, although he might have one into the centre.
Yeah, I think he got a choice of
43.
reds, but at first it looked like he was just stuck in the bunch. I mean, it could still have worked out better. He could have had a straightforward red to colour option. But he has two reds to choose from.
Four. $51.
Yes, I think that red might go. Whether the cam was directly in line with the pocket there, I'm not certain.
52. $59. $60.
Trump facing up to the likelihood that he's going to be 2 frames adrift for the first time since the second frame of the match. Murphy will be looking for one more red after this black. Trump would need a snooker. And he's done most of the scoring in this match, Murphy. He made a 1-3-2 break himself earlier today. 72, 59, 51, 71. The 69 clearance to the pink in the previous frame, and now this. He's going very nicely.
68.
And now it's just a question of how many for Murphy. He's made 53 centuries this season.
Yes, it's a pretty decisive blow. I mean, the match has got plenty in it still. I know,
74.
I'm saying it. Now, we're not saying that Murphy's won the match at 7-5, but just the nature of the last 3 frames
75.
tell you that he is beginning to get on top. And of course, the mid-session interval can. It's a bit of a cliche, but there's some truth in it. You know, it can turn things back in the favour of a certain player. And if Murphy could carry on now, I think he probably would go on and win the match.
83.
Growing in confidence, there's no doubt.
Got in with another terrific long red.
90.
So often, though, we've seen mid-session intervals change things, and Murphy's
95.
rhythm, which he struck up very nicely, is going to be interrupted by 15 minutes,
96.
which is probably good news for Trump, who could do with just regrouping. This for the ton.
$103.
Yeah, really good break this. He's read the situation well, hasn't he? You know, he has seen weakness. He's capitalised.
109.
Now, having lost the first frame of the evening convincingly, and now that he has got his nose in front, he's now looking very strong.
12.
Been a beautiful break. It's always been very easy on the eye player, hasn't he? The way that he hits the ball.
116.
The attacking nature of his game. Likes to get the crowd a little bit involved as well. Bit of a showman. And I think these first 4 frames will be very happy with when he goes back and has a chat with his coach, Peter Ebden.
A superb 121 break from Shaun Murphy, his second century of this match. Maybe it's not over yet. Maybe it's not over. On we go.
127.
Well, that was eventful, but it was a great break from Murphy. and it's put him into a healthy position at the mid-session interval. Even Trump enjoyed that, but he won't be enjoying the scoreline right now, because having won the first of the night, he's lost the next three, and it's Murphy within three of victory. He leads Judd Trump at the interval, 7-5. So Murphy has the edge in his bid to get the better of the world number one and move through to the semi-finals. Murphy, of course, a former champion in this tournament from 3 years ago. And on the other table, Xiao Xintong has taken a 3-1 interval lead over Chris Wakelin, who won the fourth. Coverage of that match continues on HBO Max as we head back to table one for the finale.
Thank you.
Of
Frame
Judd
13.
Trump and Shaun Murphy.
Judd Trump to break.
Trump hoping that the 13th frame will be lucky for him, having lost three in a row now to trail 7-5. That is not the best of starts, as Murphy did earlier this evening, catching the blue off the break. Trump, remember, leads the overall head-to-head pretty convincingly, 20 wins to 10. Perhaps more significantly, he's won 9 of the last 11 of their meetings, including the World Championship in the second round last season, 13-10, and this season, of course, in the final of the German Masters, 10-4. But look at Murphy's pot success tonight, 98%. Murphy now 146 points ahead of Trump for the match as a whole. 2 centuries from him, including that sparkling 127 pre-interval. Just 2 breaks of substance from Trump, both in the opening session, 58 and 140. But Murphy has made 7 breaks of over 50. So you'd have to say, on the balance of play, a 7-5 lead is merited for Murphy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Judd's got to hope to find something of inspiration from maybe his brother or whatever he'd have been doing in the mid-session. Because he kind of did lose his way a little bit and Murphy got stronger. But, you know, Shaun might have the advantage, but, you know, he's got 3 more frames to win, and that's what you'd be telling Judd, that, you know, he has got a little bit of breathing space, not loads, but it's still time for him to turn it around. He was 4-0 down, don't forget. in the early stages of his match with Mark Allen and turned it around, although the evening session was a lot better in general in that match than the afternoon session.
Foul.
It's one of those from the very early
Judd
stage. You might have
4.
been knowing that that cue ball was heading straight for the pocket.
An improvement on Trump's return from distance in the first session, but still, by his standards, not the best. He's just about rattled that one in. He missed an easier one than that into that pocket earlier,
1.
overcutting it. Very nearly overcut that one. And this is by no means straightforward.
Pretty good rest shot, but to finish there, I mean, I know that that's where the pace of the
3.
cue ball was to land, but up the table any further, he's got a lot better shot than this one. I mean, you might be able to screw this in and get on the black to the same pocket, but at force on this table, your accuracy has got to be spot on. And he doesn't fancy it, and I don't blame him. So patience is a virtue, I think, sometimes. Wants to try and make it all happen, but
Judd Trump 3.
it doesn't always work like that.
Thank you.
He's such a good centre pocket player, Trump, and that's another good one.
Eight. 9.
Rather accusing look from Trump in the direction of possibly some movement in the arena. Big frame for him, 8-5 down, and he's going to have to really go some to win from there. 7-6, and he's right back in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, no doubt. To get back to within a frame, you know, it feels like a match that we should go very close. And
15.
you know, there is the one nagging danger, I suppose, that Murphy could stride away with it. Although it doesn't feel necessarily as if it's going to go that way. Although these long matches can be, you know, a player can get into such a big lead that the other player loses heart a little bit. We've seen it before, especially at the Championship. The Crucible, which is coming up, of course, later this month.
It's going to be some heavy hitters during those 10 days of action at the English Institute of Sport. The likes of Ali Carter, twice a finalist, Stuart Bingham, former champion, Jack Lazowski, ranking winner and finalist this season, Hossein Bafai, Jack Jones, former finalist, and plenty of others.
Yes, and of course Tepchar is one of those as well, and he's paired up with a possibility of meeting Nopon Sankam, his fellow Thai player. So, but that's all qualifiers. We don't know the full extent of those draws yet because there's a lot of rounds to be played over those 10 days. They certainly wouldn't have tried to separate the pink and green, but I tell you what, it's worked out for the best. He's apologised on all counts there.
31.
He's on the red, and he's opened up the pink. What a fluke that was. But not quite a fluke, but a very lucky rub of the green.
32.
This was the shot. I mean, he didn't mean to hit the pink,
39.
but he freed the pink and he got straight behind the next red.
40.
You need luck sometimes.
$47. 48.
A half century from Xiao Zintong has taken the 5th frame on table 2, so he's 4-1 up and in the balls again in the next against Chris Wakelin. Trump looking to finish the job here at this visit after that stroke of good fortune just now.
55. 56.
Well, he will need another red because there are 6 of them left, so 75 is on, and he's got the target to go into the 5 reds here from this pink, which he's played. He's not quite got the target ball, and now does he want to roll that red down the cushion for the frame because he's the only safe red.
62.
He does have some insurance of green and blue safe, but if he plays this, he will not be playing on a colour. Dropping this in, he doesn't want to leave it over the pocket, of course.
Judd Trump, 62.
So, not quite enough. Get very close to this. I think he was intent on, if I miss it, I want to get it away from the pocket.
Shake of the head from Trump, obviously frustrated. He didn't kill it off cleanly. Firm favourite, but you just never know in this sport. Things can change so quickly.
Yeah, Murphy won't have given it up, you know. Your frames like this can be complete game changers. But he needs to get the opportunity first. It's one of these shots here where if he tries to take the red up and down the table, it's the double kisses on. I mean, he might just be able to avoid it, but it's not far away. Yeah, he's just avoided it. Well played. And of course, clearing up, the other thing is if he ever got down to the blue, he's in a horrible position for the clearance. I know the green is as well, but the blue to pink would be a more than difficult shot. Got to start somewhere. That's a very good shot. A little delicate one required here from black to cannon on to a red to land on a red. Well, I thought that was in. It just brushed the near jaw, and that is end of frame.
Shaun Murphy 1.
Further evidence, I think, that these pockets are certainly not generous. Looked good initially, but that little cannon on the jaw enough to keep it out. So Trump relieved to see that stay above ground, and he is going to be closing to just one behind.
Eight. 9. 16. 17. 21. 22. 29. 30.
'Now a few crowd shots, if you like.
36. 36 and a frame.
It was the 62 break from Trump that did most of the damage. He did miss frame ball red, but Shaun Murphy just missing the black when he was eyeing a possible counter-attack. And so Trump closes to within one frame here at Manchester. Couldn't be tighter after 13. Murphy 7-6 up. So Murphy pegged back as we head back to table 2, where, as mentioned, Zhao Xintong made a half-century to restore his 3-frame advantage over Chris Wakelin after the interval. and was in early in this one, but Wakelin now at the table, just 15 behind. When Wakelin beat Shaun this season's Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters, he was 2 down with 3 to play, turned it around. He was on the wrong end of that history-making performance from Ronnie O'Sullivan in the semi-finals in Jeddah, when O'Sullivan made 2 1-4-7s on the same evening. O'Sullivan having opted not to enter this event, he could have played. He was in 9th place on the one-year list at the cut-off.
Yes, because earlier in this frame, Jin Tong was in again, and you know, if this goes 5-1, then you're looking at possibly a very big overnight lead potentially. The way that Jin Tong has been playing, so he's got to see if he can just get frames on the board. See where it takes him for tomorrow. Might be a different ball game as we saw in the previous round. From what I've seen, I don't think Wakelin's done a great deal wrong. It's more been about how well the world champion has played.
Some.
Chris Wakelin looking to close to within 2 frames again. Zhao Tong having taken the first post interval for a 4-1 lead and was in early in this one, but Wakelin now at the table. You can watch that on HBO Max. Thought of that to play that Selby or Higgins, they do battle tomorrow, and what a battle it could be. In the meantime, this is quite a battle too. Just 1 frame between them now. Shaun Murphy 7-6 up. And again, opting for that aggressive break. Very nearly got a cannon back into the reds there.
I mean, it's a dangerous break, and you know, is it giving him an advantage? Well, he's opened the balls up, I know that, but he's also got the black safe. I just don't understand why he's decided that Judd is a player he needs to open the balls up against. But he is winning 7-6, and we can't argue with that. I mean, I think that there is a theory that the break-off shot is no longer much of an advantage. Often you leave your opponent a long red, and at this standard that the game is played at now, you know, leaving your opponent anything at range is not to be advised. So breaking off is not what it's all cracked up to be.
28.
It used to be you'd opt to break if you won the toss because you had the edge, but it's not really an advantage now.
29.
One.
30.
That was a nice shot just to nudge the black further down the table to the pocket.
9.
43.
16. 17.
Well, getting in first is a fairly priceless thing to do in these close matches.
22.
The mid-session, you would think, certainly favoured Trump, because Murphy had really struck up a rhythm.
23.
He knocked in a 69 and then that 1-2-7 break. So he was on a bit of a roll, and that was inevitably interrupted by the 15-minute hiatus.
Thirty. One.
Always a good shot to get that cue ball round in between green and brown from that side.
36.
Not a lot of room to avoid the bold colours, but it's a shot that players will practice. Off the top jaw. But it's a typical Trump break, though, isn't it? You know, he's not got the cue ball on a string. He's having to work for everything. Pretty good shot to finish on that bottom red there, because so easily he could have finished short and been on nothing.
42. 43.
So much better since the mid-session
50.
interval, this. A couple of pretty straightforward frames. It looks like he's got a bit of work to do. He's in the process
51.
of doing it here. Not got to worry about the awkward reds close to cushion, because in the middle of the table is all he needs. Those 4 reds just about in play. Frame will be over.
58. 59.
Red colour after this pink to bring the scores level again. It's been a seesaw match, with one player looking like he's getting the better of his opponent, and then the opponent coming right back, which
65.
kind of makes you wonder if it'll go all the way to a deciding frame, which match would probably
66.
deserve that. I think it's been good.
71. 72. 79. 80.
Trump made a record-breaking 107 centuries last season, and in the process also became the first player to do a century of centuries
85.
twice in a single campaign. It's not quite at that level this season.
86.
And a heavenward glance will tell you he's got work to do now to make one here. 58 for this season. No century, but a break of 86 to go with the 62 he made in the previous frame. And Trump, from 7-5 down at the interval, has tied it up again. It's now a best of 5 here in Manchester for a place in Friday's semi-final. 7 frames apiece. Now over on table 2, we've just seen Shaun miss a black with a 19-point advantage in the 7th frame. He was 4-1 up. Chris Wakelin pulling a frame back and getting a reprieve early in this 7th frame. When they played at the Crucible last season, it felt as though Wakelin really ran out of steam, which can happen there. It's such a demanding tournament mentally. He'd beaten Neil Robertson in the first round. Having come through qualifying, he'd beaten Mark Allen, but although Zhao wasn't at his best in that match, he won it very comfortably, 13-5. Wakelin was able to exact a bit of revenge by winning in Saudi at the start of this season. 6-5 from 5-3 down on his way to the semi-finals of that big money event. We're into the early stages of frame 7 between Zhao Xintong and Chris Wakelin. Zhao leading 4-2. That's on HBO Max. Judd Trump back in business. Back-to-back frames, won convincingly with big breaks for 7 each. After Shaun Murphy had won 3 in a row himself from 5-4 down. 10, of course, is the target. Neil Robertson or Barry Hawkins to play the winner on Friday. Robertson 5-3 up in that one after their first session this afternoon.
That'll do. I don't think he would have played in behind the brown, quite honestly. Not really a shot you'd play, because if you miss the brown, of course, you're leaving a red that Trump was very likely to pot to the left corner. So he'd be more than happy to see it trickle in behind the brown. It's not easy, this. We saw earlier on he in a not dissimilar snooker. He tried to rattle the cue ball in the jaws of the top left pocket, and it just flew down this end, wildly out of control. But I don't think he'll try that one again somehow. But what he does do, I'm not sure, because it's a horrible snooker. He'd like to hit that bottom red, yes, but it's one thing putting that on the screen. It's another thing actually playing the shot. I mean, it is one of these, but you look at it and look at it and think, well, what can I actually do for the best? What is the effective shot to play? Is the effective shot to play to land up to a red, or is it just to, at speed, just hit the cue ball into the bunch and hope to fluke one? It's a nasty snooker, this. It's having a little go around multiple cushions. There's not much room. It's a great effort, you know. It's a great shot. Brilliant. Brilliant shot. I mean, there are escapes and escapes. That is out of the top drawer, that one. Good shot. Yeah, side cushion safety shot before the bottom cushion. Not even gone in behind there again, surely. Oh, that's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. Not played, I have to say. It's not such a fiendish snooker as the last one, but Judd probably can't believe it's gone back behind the brown a second time, and you can see that little, well, I'm not sure what you would call that expression, but one of displeasure. That was also a very well played shot to hit that side of the red and leave nothing. done well there when you think that Murphy has unintentionally gone behind the brown twice to escape both times unscathed.
Another century from Zhao Xintong, tightening his grip on table 2. 5-2 up now, with 1 to play this evening. They come back tomorrow evening to finish. Chris Wakeland, of course, overturned a 6-2 deficit last night, but to do it 2 rounds running and to do it against the reigning world champion with 3 titles this season would be perhaps a bridge too far. So a big frame coming up for him.
Not a bad shot at all. You know, again, I know he's missed the pot, but steering that cue ball back to the bolt cushion was very much a part of it. Yes, the match is taken into a new sort of phase now, isn't it? Where, you know, they're back level, the balls are open, they're both playing quite well, and they can't afford to make mistakes. There's still a best of 5 from here, but it just feels that we're at the business end of this match now, or coming towards it at least.
That's a mistake. Trump has left a red for Murphy, at least 1. He's not happy. It's been a while though since Murphy potted 1. Trump has dominated the 2 frames since the interval.
One. Six. Seven.
Oh, there's a good chance now. I mean, it really is. The balls could barely be
12.
in better positions. And it's not always been the case tonight, but that's how it stands right now. Balls are good. And a great chance for Murphy to continue the good form we saw
13.
prior to the mid-session interval. Hasn't had a lot to go at since, but he's got this.
Twenty. 21. 28. 29.
'Well, he doesn't have to nudge into the few reds here because you've got so many other options. That's why he decided to play beyond the bunch. I can see why. I mean, on a different day, you might have just played a cannon into the red directly above the black.
36.
But really, I think you can just pick them off one by one and not take any undue risks about cannons. Because the
37.
balls are fairly well scattered anyway.
It's a measure of how close this match is. Murphy just 3 points in front overall before that black. Led 2-0. Should have been 3-0 really.
44.
Ended up sharing the first session. Fell 5-4 down. 3 in a row for 7-5. Pegged back by Trump to 7 each.
$45.
That is a mistake, and
52.
potentially a serious mistake. To go into that red full ball, he tried to get beyond that red. That's the one way the shot could go wrong, to kiss that red full on and push it towards the bunch. Well, nothing goes now, so he'll be quite annoyed there because it was a gilt-edged chance to get his lead back. He's only done half the job.
Shaun Murphy, 52.
So the break ends at 52. Still plenty of points there for Trump to counter.
Worth a go. Worth a go. Now, thin red to right middle. Don't think he'll play the thin red at the bottom of the 5 in the middle of the table. I think this is the kind of shot where you'd like to think you could control the cue ball, but really the most important thing is this pot goes in. Whatever else happens on it. Yeah, that's all right. He thought he might go into something, and he has gone into the yellow. Yellow went past the red, so yeah, there's quite a lot of importance on this next shot on the brown. It's not simple. Very well played. So that positional shot that went wrong, well, it may not cost him now. Second bite at the cherry to win this
5.
frame.
Six. Twelve.
So he hasn't won it in the second attempt. I tell you what, that is not a good shot either. So is there a way back into the frame, which did not seem likely for Trump, but if he can roll this long red in, well, I mean, you know, this is not an easy shot, but if it goes in, he has got a right chance here. Not to be.
It's fair to say Trump's long game hasn't quite been there today. Playing with a new cue, not for the first time this season. There's confirmation. Normally such an asset of his long game.
1.
But Murphy gets a third bite at the cherry, and surely this time there'll be no mistake.
Eight. 9. Sixteen. 17.
Might have been
24.
different had Trump knocked that long red in, which normally he would do.
25.
As it is, he's not going to trouble the scorers in this frame, it would seem. And an important frame for Murphy, having sat out the previous two.
31.
It's got a 10-9 feel about it, hasn't it, this match?
It has, although I think Murphy would be quite relieved to win this frame, not only because he'd lost the last two, but because it's taken him 3 visits and what was a very attractive table when he came to it with a ball's worth.
39.
But he has won the frame, and in the end it will read he's won the frame to 0, but there were a couple of little bumps in the road.
Yes, it could have been different, but Trump wasn't able to take a couple of opportunities that came his way. And Shaun Murphy edges back in front at 8 frames to 7. As we head to the final frame of the first session on table 2 between Zhao Xintong and Chris Wakelin. Zhao has made a couple of centuries, leading 5-2. Wakelin well in front, though, in this one. A very big frame for him to stay in touch. 45 the lead with 59 on, so he's looking for another red and high-value colour. But the colours on their spots, slightly unusual looking table, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, dangerous table, isn't it, for a player 45 in front, because that lead probably doesn't count for a whole lot, because, you know, if Jin Tong gets another chance, as you say, every colour on its spot. Four red's not safe. They're safe at the moment, but when they're opened up, they'll all be open. Put it that way. I'd like to push one onto a cushion if you could. Not able to there. So it looks like Wakelin, but I wouldn't absolutely guarantee it. I mean, if you fell 6-2 down, I suppose you'd say, well, I did that in the last round, but against the world champion, you're asking for a lot to do that again. Because he won all of the 8 frames against Ruiza. From 6-2 down. And he's missed the red altogether.
Chris Wakelin.
Trying to catch very thin edge of it.
It's on there, isn't it?
Chris Wakelin, very much the favourite
Thank
at the
you.
moment in the final frame
Round
of
16.
the first session
Round
with
left.
Shaun
Break.
Tong, who leads 5-2. You can watch the climax to that session on HBO Max. Shaun Murphy needed 3 scoring visits to win the previous frame, but win it he did. Now leads 8-7, 2 away from victory, continuing with that very attacking break.
Well, that version of it has worked well. Interesting. I'm not sure it's going to catch on, actually. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's one of those where it all looks a bit like it could go wrong horribly at the worst moment. I mean, you know, you can imagine it in the last frame of an event like this, would you break off like that and, you know, could risk being your only shot? I think he can get through to it. I think there's a gap. I think he can pot it. I'm not saying he will pot it because it's not easy, but I don't believe that the green or the blue are in the way of the pot. What's in the way is how far away the balls are. You see it from behind the pocket. It's pretty obvious he can see it. But it's not easy. I'm not ever saying that.
And as we've highlighted, he's not been at his best from long range today. gave that long red an awful lot of thought, Trump, but in the end decided he didn't fancy it. I think had he potted a few more from distance today, he might well have gone for it. And now he might wish he had taken it on, because Murphy slotted that red into the centre.
Oh, that's okay. That is absolutely fine. Key red to land on.
4.11. 12.
Closer play next door. And Chris Wakelin has taken that 8th frame, so he's done pretty well when you consider Zhao Xintong raced into a 3-0 lead. Wakelin has come out of that session 5-3 behind. They come back tomorrow night to finish.
20.
Feels a big visit, this one, doesn't it? He could nudge the red on the right, directly above the black here. That's what he's done, although it's more of a, not quite just a nudge, but it was the same red.
27. 28.
Could have worked out a bit better. Murphy has left himself a bit hampered for this black. Makes the shot so much trickier. Nope.
You called it. You called it. It was the other shot. And that's the thing he's done. Even when he won that last frame, he was in 3 times. It took 3 visits, and what it tells you is that it's not so much that he's not playing well, but he's just not quite got the cue ball under the sort of control that you'd expect, and that's why he broke down there. I know he missed the black, but the black was missable, and he shouldn't have been that far behind it. You know, thin contact over the top of a red. 0 fun, that shot. And it was a big visit, as we said, from Murphy, but he didn't really capitalise on it.
Yes, because Trump,
3.
after a lot of deliberation, decided not to attempt the long red into the left corner, played safe, but didn't leave it safe, so he'll be relieved that
4.
it didn't prove too expensive. could have cost him the frame and left him needing to win 3 in a row.
Six. Seven.
I don't know if it's anything to do with the conditions, but the conditions to me look good and are playing okay.
14.
But the cue ball certainly is not under the sort of control either player would expect. That shot was not all that well played. But he just managed to
15.
get that red in. It was tight. Just crept in off the bottom jaw. So everything to play for here.
17. 18. 25.
Just got a little glance off the red here.
26.
They're all on. And I know the two reds on the right have got to be landed behind, but they're not particularly close to cushion, so they're all on.
33. 34.
This isn't the point of the match, you know. Trump knows that he has to take this chance. I mean, he's putting a lot of emphasis on Murphy, and maybe he's feeling under pressure. But of course, Trump, he's in with a chance to level or go 2 down with 3 to play, and all of those things are in the balance still. So it's a pressurised
41.
situation for both players on different reasons. Murphy probably should have done more with his chance. Now Trump's got to do something with this one.
42.
And that's not a great angle. You have to force this black to get back for a red. That looks perfectly played.
$49.
These will be hurting Murphy because he had a good chance. Played a loose positional shot to leave himself hampered on that black, which made the shot so much more difficult. And it cost him the pot, and it's possibly cost him the frame.
$50.
It looks very likely now. As Trump promotes that slightly awkward red. He'll only need the red for 8 each.
$56. 50. 57.
You know, you feel it's kind of swung back in favour of Trump now. I mean, I'm not saying he'll win because we just don't know from here, but
63.
he's dodged a few bullets tonight. Murphy,
65.
whatever happens from here, he'll be a little annoyed that it's 8-all. He probably had the better of it at 4-all
68.
going into tonight, and it's been a similar story. Maybe he could have won a frame or two more, and then the match, of course, would have at this stage been over.
72.
And he's been on the wrong end of things for quite a while against Trump in the main. Just 2
77.
of the last 11 meetings have gone his way against the world number 1,
83.
including this season's German Masters final, as Trump, in a hurry, clears the table with 90. After Murphy had missed the awkward black, left himself hampered. That was a self-inflicted error. And it's cost him the chance to go 2 up with 3 to play. We're level yet again here at 8 each. So all to play for on table 1. And we've reached the end of play, of course, on table 2, where Tong initially was 3-0 up and then 5-2 up. So this was a big final frame of the session for Chris Wakelin, who did overturn a 6-2 deficit last night by winning 8 in a row against Wu Yiza. But to repeat that trick against the world champion in the form he's been in, well, that would be a big ask. So a big frame to stay within 2 for when they come back tomorrow, and he's been able to achieve that, Neil.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I mean, Tong has looked by far the better player, but in the end he's only won 5 of the 8 frames, and he did win those first 3. So Wakelin's in there, and of course he'll believe that he can come back and win, but doesn't mean he will. But you know, he knows it's possible. Tong, I don't suppose, will worry, because he looks pretty laid back about everything. You know, he's got some frames on the board, and tomorrow night this match concludes, and I don't think he gives it anything much more thought than that. That's why he's the player he is.
And the winner will play the Mark Selby or John Higgins. They'll be playing to a finish tomorrow night. They play their first session tomorrow afternoon. That'll be Saturday's second semi-final. And Zhao offering his hand. So advantage the world champion after the first 8 frames on table 2, but Chris Wakelin keeping himself in contention by winning that 8th frame. Zhao will return tomorrow with a 5-3 lead, needing 5 more to go through to the semi-finals in this, his second Tour Championship appearance. (16 of a possible 19 frames have come and gone, and we're still none the wiser as to who's going to prevail here on table 1 between Shaun Murphy and Judd Trump. 8 each. Mark Selby will be in action against John Higgins tomorrow. 8 world championships between them. Higgins fresh from that very satisfying win over his fellow class of 92 great Mark Williams, 10-8 last night. He finished with a superb break, which was far from straightforward after Williams had fought back from 7-2 down to level at 8-all, and that's where we're at here on table 1 right now. 8 apiece. That was a big frame for Trump to win. Murphy had the chance, but left himself with an awkward black, missed it, and Trump cleared the table with 90 to tie things up once again. So that was a bit of a setback for Murphy. How's he going to respond now? It's a best of 3 from here for a place in the last 4.
Frame 17,
A meeting
Judd
with either
break.
Robertson or Hawkins, who play to a finish tomorrow afternoon. Robertson leading that one 5-3.
He's opened the balls up. He's covered the red that was close to the pocket. Trump will know that that's happened a few times tonight where Murphy's played the big shot and Bolt Colour has come to his rescue. This looks like he's in a spot of bother here, actually. Well, he's come round to have a little look, tiptoeing round the angles, because has he covered the red? Is there a red that goes there? Do you know, I think that red will go. He's not into a full pocket, however. Trump tried to get that cue ball buried in the bunch. It'll go, but you know, it's not in a full pocket. He might be able to pot it off the other red as well. It'll interest him. Wow, what a mistake. You know, I think he may have gone anyway, may have gone directly. But, I mean, he had to do something there, I suppose. But he's left an absolutely glorious chance here, hasn't he?
One.
You couldn't ask for anything better. I think it went without the aid of the other red, but as I say, into half a pocket only. I like that shot. I mean, he's really pushed everything out into open play. You can't imagine a better chance than this at this juncture of a match. And you see what he did. He just spread about 6 reds into play. And he knew he had 2 over the pocket. It's a magnificent chance.
$16. 17. 24. 25.
That was a
32.
really nicely played shot there to get that cannon.
33. $40. 41.
It's a beautiful table, but of course with that comes the pressure to ensure that you take the chance, knowing that if you don't, your opponent's going to have a very good opportunity to counter. But it's looking a little bleak at the moment for Murphy, who let the previous frame slip when he had the chance, and had one at the start of this
49.
frame too.
And he could have stayed on reds and blacks there, of course. It wasn't that difficult to play the red to the right middle and come back for the black. But right now, the last thing he needs to be considering is, you know, a maximum break. He wouldn't mind making one, of course, but I think at this stage of a match, it's not at the forefront of his
54.
mind.
And he'll feel he's got
55.
unfinished business with this tournament. It's not been a successful one for Trump. Nothing better than a semi-final. He hadn't won a match since 2020 before he beat Mark Allen.
Well, he can't
62.
go down for the black this time. He's going to have to play it up for, I think, blue again. There is that red by the yellow, which I think will pot if he did fall short of the angle. I don't think he wants to play on it, but, you know, he might have to now. If it goes, now is the time, then he'll be playing it.
And this is all he needs. Murphy will need
68.
a snooker if this goes in.
69.
I think what you can say about this match, in the last few frames, yeah, Murphy has had as many good chances as Trump, but Trump has been, in this frame, certainly more efficient, more ruthless. And he's basically won it in a frame, whereas Murphy hasn't quite
73.
managed that. Doesn't mean he'll win, but right now Trump looks slightly more dangerous in amongst them.
74.
And now eyeing his third century of the match. He made 3 against Mark
81.
Allen. Remember, he started very sluggishly in that match. Was 4-0 down. Turned it around very impressively
82.
in the second session. 7-5 down this evening from 5-4 up.
He can make 140 again
89.
here.
90.
Obviously not now, but referee almost sprinting around the table there to be
96.
around there in time. This is good from Trump. It was an
97.
absolutely gilt-edged chance, though. I have to say that he would have been annoyed not to have made these, but he has still done it.
And there is the century.
104.
Shaun Murphy had the initial opportunity, tried to make the plant, but it stayed
105.
out. And Trump has pounced. And he's absolutely flying at the moment.
110.
This has been a whirlwind break from Trump.
112.
Very much on the front foot at the sharp end of this contest.
115.
A 90 clearance in the previous frame, 140 which came in the first session.
19.
But looking the stronger of the two right now.
24.
Murphy, of course, still very much in contention, but he needs both the final frames. Trump needs just one.
130.
A 137 total clearance from the world number one, who's eyeing a place in his third Tour Championship semi-final. He's one frame away from making it happen now. He leads Shaun Murphy by 9 frames to 8. Getting down to the wire then, Judd Trump, who is now leading for the first time since the first frame of this evening session.
Frame 18.
Was 5-4 up. Murphy won 3 in a row for 7-5. Led 8-7, has had chances since then, hasn't taken them. And now has got to win the last 2. 1 down with 2 to play. And persisting with that risky break-off.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all credit if he keeps going with it. The problem is sometimes a red will come out of the side of the bunch and will meet the cue ball on the way back up, as nearly happened earlier. Not on that occasion. Wow. After that wonderful break, he's leapt up in the air. I think that all wrong.
One area of Trump's game that's been AWOL for most of the day, actually, is long potting, and he's missed a few by quite a margin. None more so than that one. So what can Murphy do with this chance? He needs this frame, of course, to make it a 1-frame shootout. So we'll have another look at this. Missed it by a long way.
I know, and his long potting is not been ideal, and you know, without harping on about the new cue, because people talk about those things a lot. You know, if you have got different equipment, the long pots are the ones that are going to suffer. He has knocked a few in, but the ones he's played into that right corner with any pace about them, he's got nowhere near them, quite honestly. He's not only just missed them, he's missed them by a mile.
He was up so quickly there, he overcut that by a number of inches. Can't believe it. All the more surprising given the 137 total clearance he made in the previous frame.
Well, last thing I'll say on that is that when you've been using a cue for years and you completely, you know, at ease with it, you don't have to think about side spin and the reaction of the ball. You kind of know how it's going to react. Your muscle memory of the shot, your thought process is there, but with a different cue, you're thinking about all of the stuff that used to come naturally. The game is difficult enough as it is. But as we've seen, you know, in amongst them, he's looking really good with the cue. Anyway, Murphy, as I've said earlier, has kind of got himself in these positions without necessarily winning a lot of frames in a single visit, especially this evening. Now, as a neutral, it would be absolutely good to see this go to a decider. It's been an engrossing match. We don't really mind who wins.
25. Thirty-two. $33.
Murphy may have the opportunity to stay on the black if he wanted to. He's more likely, I think, to do that than Trump. But right now, it might be that it's best that he plays on something lower value than the black. The pink, if he plays on it, I think he's playing up for the blue. The problem with playing the pink there is that it would
41.
go behind its own spot and mightn't help anyone. So I think the more attacking option might be here to play on that left-hand red and screw into the remaining reds. Go the two-pushing route instead. Need some luck. I think it's all right.
46.
Yeah, that goes. Smashing with applause. He's got to get out from the red onto his colour here, which is not guaranteed.
$47.
He's pumped.
One of the curiosities of this season is that Judd Trump,
Level.
serial winner that he is, has lost all 8 of his deciding frame matches. Are we headed that way? It's looking likely.
52.
He's won 4 of the 7 he's contested with Murphy.
53.
Well, this is the match of the tournament so far. We're into day 3, and sometimes long matches can be a little one-sided, but this has been an absolute humdinger, and it's getting better. And we might be heading for that decider. But at the moment, 83 left on. He's got a pot. Certainly, I'd say 3
58.
more reds to guarantee it. Certainly 2 with colours.
59.
All credit to Shaun Murphy. Sitting out that break of, well, that total clearance from
65.
Trump in the previous frame. And now, when the chance came,
66.
after the pretty wayward shot, it has to be said, from Judd, where he missed that red by quite a way. Now he stepped up. And we're going to be going all the way. So that Trump stat could be extended, or the law of averages, I guess, says that he will win one soon, and he'd like it to be tonight when that all changed.
73. $80. 81.
These two have had some great battles down the years. Trump has held sway in most of the big ones, including the World Championship last season, although Murphy does have a couple of wins over Trump at the Crucible. And, of course,
88.
this season in the final at the Tempodrome, when Trump ran out a resounding
89.
10 frames to 4 winner, but this has been a really excellent response. Murphy will feel he's left a couple of frames out there tonight, but he hasn't allowed any frustration to affect him when presented with the chance to take this the distance.
96. Shaun Murphy, 96.
Not quite a third century of the night for Shaun Murphy, but 96 will do. And we're in for a thrilling finale here in Manchester. What a match it's been. Punch and counter punch all day long. And it's 9 frames all. A thrilling finale in the offing here in Manchester on day 3 of the Tour Championship. Judd Trump and Shaun Murphy have been going at it all day long and
The
still can't
deciding
be
frame,
separated. It's
Judd
a
Trump to
final
break.
frame, 9 each, and Trump to get the decider underway. The 8th time they've played a decider. Trump has won 4 of the 7, but he's not won one this season in 8 attempts.
I mean, you just feel that's one of those stats that is there to be broken, don't you? I mean, there's no reason for it. I know that a lot's been made of it, and you're right to mention it because he hasn't won one, and that's a fact. But there's no reason why he should lose another one tonight, other than if Murphy gets in and pots them all. But I know one thing, to lose any match in a deciding frame is painful. So he suffered that pain a lot. With the handshake between the two of them, a little look in the eye from Murphy towards Trump. You know, this is the last event before the World Championships at the Crucible Theatre, of which these two are called seeded players. They haven't got to qualify or anything. You don't want to go out at this stage. Yes, there'll be a long time to prepare, but this is a big tournament in its own right. So this is a very important frame of snooker for both of these two leading players, I feel. He's in between shots here, isn't he? I mean, he's got a red he can go for in the left corner, the left-hand red. It's not the most natural round the back of the black and to safety. It's a little thin, as you can see. It's not a half ball, it's thinner than that. You know, this is a shot that could go wrong. Judd had one of these on the opposite side, missed it by a mile in the previous frame. Could have been a better kiss, quite honestly. It's not terrible, but he could have been right behind a colour there. And if he plays this blue into the green pocket, it's absolutely essential that he gets it, because it's a match winner or a match loser, this shot.
He's been the better from long range throughout the day, Murphy, and this evening he's knocked in 3 out of 4. That's a good return, but there's pressure on everything now. That always looked wide, and that was never in.
He hit it quickly in the end. He hit it quickly. He almost as if to say, "Oh, I'm not under pressure." And you'd fancy him for the shot. He probably feels a little bit aggrieved that he was faced with that one. Not something easier. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. He leapt up in the air on that. He did not keep still on it, did he?
It's one of the reasons that this sport is so compelling. You're looking at 2 of the finest exponents in the history of the game, but no one, and I mean no one, is immune to pressure. Even the world number 1, even Triple Crown winner Murphy.
Well, now I'm starting to change my opinion on all those frames, deciding frames he's lost. Because it must be affecting him, because he hit that one really poorly. It's almost like the pressure had got to him. I couldn't imagine him missing the first red from there, the way he pots.
Yeah, that will sting for Murphy, but how much will depend on what
5.
Murphy does here. It will sting for Trump, I should say, because it was, for him, a straightforward pot, but nothing is straightforward at this stage of a match. A big tournament, a final frame decider.
7.
Murphy probably went back to his chair fearing the worst, having missed that blue. Would certainly not have expected to be back at the table so quickly.
8.
Yes, it's not so simple to get from colour to red here. You might have to nudge something. That's a good shot. That's a really good shot. He calculated that he could nudge that red towards left corner. He played it really well.
14.
That was as planned. He can afford perhaps to take the other red here if he wants to as well and save that one close to the pocket for further down the line. That's the decision he has to make.
I think it would mean a lot to Murphy to get the better of Trump, particularly over a match of this length. He did beat him on his way to the British Open
15.
title this season, but by and large he's been second best to Trump in the last couple of years. He's only won 2 of their last 11 meetings. He's only won 10 of their 30 in all.
$22. $23.
He tried to arc that
30.
cue ball out and back in, if you like, out to the left and back through. And it could have come out better. In fact, unless he decides to play this double, which he may do, he may think it's worth playing the double to left middle on that red on the right, because what can he leave? Only perhaps the red that he's playing. And it could win him the match if it goes in. Well, that's a double he would have absolutely loved to have
Shaun Murphy.
seen drop, and he has
30.
left that red that he played. Isn't that always the way?
So Trump's surprise error on the red to the right corner hasn't proved to be overly expensive. How he would love a long pot right now. He hasn't had many today that have gone in.
1.
Now, this cue ball is a little too close for comfort to that
6.
left-hand side cushion.
Very good.
7.
A good deal harder than the one he missed initially in this deciding frame.
He's got a shot to right middle. He's just got to sort of recover, hasn't he, a
13.
little bit from that very surprising miss on that first red when he had that chance earlier in the frame.
14.
Now he's got an even better chance.
21. $22.
You do wonder if there'll be another twist or whether he's kind of got over his shakes in this frame a little bit, because it's been a bit of a rocky few shots that he's played, actually. But he's one of these players, I mean, he's not world number one for no reason, and now he can see the winning line despite all those
29
losses. You know, he's going to fancy this. It's just that it's been a while.
30.
Well, that might well be the beginning of the end for Shaun Murphy. Couldn't have played that any better.
37.
He's got few power to burn, Judd Trump. What a dramatic match it's been, and the decider no exception. Murphy missed a blue, Trump then missed a red to this pocket, and might have thought
38.
he'd blown his chance of winning the match, but Murphy didn't land on one going into them, took on the double, assuming that even if he missed it, he wouldn't be leaving it in the event he did. And this is the result.
He didn't play that very well at all. He nearly missed it, you see, and
Yeah.
I don't know whether he feels that he got
45.
bad contact or what happened. He heard an audible sort of sigh as he hit it. If he hits it into the middle of the pocket, the cue ball screws up higher and finishes right behind that right-hand red into the left corner. So there's something of a lifeline for Murphy, potentially. 14 is a slender lead, and he's got a very awkward red now. He's playing the thin cut, cue ball going back down the other end of the table to bulk. Nice recovery. Very good.
46.
That's really good. Murphy just hoping, but if this brown goes in and he gets behind the red, his hope might be just about to be extinguished.
$50.
The crowd have been gripped by this. It's been terrific entertainment all the way through.
Nothing's easy. He was
51.
not meant to hit the black on the way through. If he'd have missed the black, he'd have bounced off the cushion and have been right behind it. Now, this is a ticklish one.
Needs the black and the red.
I think that was a better shot than it looked.
58.
So 27 in front. He'll be 28 in front with just 27 left if this goes in. And it has. And look at what it means to Judd Trump. He'll be well aware that when it comes to deciding frames this year, this season, he's been on the wrong end of it, and he would have feared the worst again when he missed the short-range red to the opposite corner early in this frame. But Murphy couldn't quite make his chance tell, and he's missed the black.
Why didn't he roll it in? He's made the mistake of going with the big punch.
Judd Trump. 59.
You just have to roll it in. Why do you play on the yellow there? The extra 7 points are priceless. It's 2 snookers to tie if he rolls it in.
Drama unconfined.
Also, he's just got that sort of slightly worrying thought that he has gone with the big punch early. You know, he's punched the air. Has he left this? Yes, he has. But he is a bit jumpy and jerky on shots, isn't he? I think he made that point earlier. Even that, he was up quickly. It's 1 snooker on the blue, pink and black to tie. 2 as it stands otherwise. There was a little bit of drama there, but it didn't amount to much, did it?
It could have been a very awkward moment for Trump had Murphy been able to leave things safe there or get the snooker, but it looks as though the world #1 is coming through, and that reaction that he gave just shows you how much it means. This has not been his best tournament down the years. He's never won it. He's never been to the final. He hadn't won a match in the Tour Championship since 2020 before beating Mark Allen in the first round. But he's come through a decider in what has been a terrific tussle with Shaun Murphy. He'll be very disappointed because he'll feel he's had chances himself to win today. But ultimately it's Trump who's had the last word. And will now play either Neil Robertson or Barry Hawkins for a place in Sunday's final. A great match, a great advert for the sport. But it's the world #1, Judd Trump, who has edged out Shaun Murphy in a thriller. What drama at the end. You just didn't know who was going to prevail until the last couple of balls, but it is Trump who gave it the big fist pump, who has got the job done. He's won a decider for the first time this season. He's beaten Shaun Murphy.
Ищу тебя каждый день, ищу тебя каждый день, ищу тебя каждый день. Я ищу тебя взглядом в стадии людей. Ищу тебя каждый день, ищу тебя каждый день, ищу тебя каждый день. Я ищу тебя взглядом. В этом городе много развлечений, много тех, кто только по течению, много кто ни разу не зайдет в библиотеку. Тут тупые люди и острые предметы. Знаешь, они вкалывают, чтобы хоть поесть, да иначе снова в поезд, да и в степь. Там похуй здесь всем, на книги закладки, хоть джиги сказали, что во дворах кто-нибудь есть, да. Тут платье воняет инстинктами и помада со вкусом бензина, и от всей этой тусы стошнило бы, если бы не было плевать. Море алкоголя и стоит маяк. Тут есть офис, но где мечта? Ездят автобусы, есть толпа, но в этом городе нет тебя, ведь твоя доброта невыгодна, улыбка невежлива, твои слова не наиграны, твои доктрины не лечатся. Похоже, я скучаю по тебе. В этом старом ноябре я искал тебя взглядом в стаде людей. Ведь не смысл, ты карма, ты. Место, где выросли, мир серости, сырости, лишь сердце тут керосин, но быт вечно моросит. Я ищу тебя будто бы в лимбо, и все это похоже на комедию. Прохожу через ад как повинный, чтобы только тебя встретить, эй. Зрачки уменьшаются при тебе, тени исчезают при тебе, но ты улетаешь быстрее ракет, и вампиры выползают на обед. Мой Готэм нуждается в тебе. Когда же придет этой ночи конец? Обошел все туннели в воде, но тебя в моем городе нет. Твоя доброта невыгодна, улыбка невежлива, твои слова не наиграны, твои доктрины не лечатся. Похоже, я скучаю по тебе. В этом старом ноябре я искал тебя взглядом в стаде людей. Ведь не смысл, ты карма, ты свет. 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 Ты смысл, ты карма, ты смысл, ты карма, ты смысл, ты карма, ты свет. Ты смысл, ты карма, ты смысл ты карма ты, и смысл ты карма ты, и свет. Еду сквозь ночь, и ты освещаешь мой путь, а все эти суки гаснут. Пацаны все еще не могут уснуть, но день уже где-то рядом, и я найду тебя, чтобы сказать лишь привет. Не надо быть там, где ты есть. И смысл ты карма, ты правда, и ты чистота, ты нирвана, ты знание, и ты мой покой, и ты свет.